was the Harry Potter theme, was it? Welcome to Tea and a Buddy on this special 4th of July episode, going out actually on the 4th of July. And I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
And
I'm American. I'm Erica from America.
Yep. As she knows, I'm Dominic, and I'm Dominic from Britain. And it's a famous holiday, this, isn't it? It's quite famous for America.
Well, in America, anyway.
Yeah, it's the national day of America.
Yeah.
The United States.
It's so funny, considering I'm American.
Their version of
British.
Brexit.
Yeah. Yeah. our Brexit.
Brexit.
Yeah.
Or is it Amerixit?
Yeah. I think it would have been maybe something like...
I wonder what they had.
I don't know,
then.
yeah. But, considering you're from Britain and I'm from America.
Yeah.
We know about this question that's very typical that British people get from Americans, which I never asked you. Because obviously the 4th of July is about America's independence.
Yes, and it's a holiday that's celebrated over here.
From Britain, yeah.
Yeah.
So it just I never thought that, and Thanksgiving too. I just thought these are American holiday. I just knew that,
Just knew that, yeah.
So I thought it was
many people. I mean, the people I encountered who lived, most of them anyway. I mean, older people as well. Like in their 50s.
Yeah.
I'd encounter online Americans, and they'd ask me questions that were like required a bit of thought on their part.
Right. And apparently a lot of people ask British people the question being, do you celebrate the 4th of July?
And my answer is no, we skip right to the 5th.
Yeah. Do you have the 4th of July?
Do you have 4th of July in Britain? I've had that question, and of course, it's like, no, we just have the 3rd and the 5th, no 4th.
Yeah.
But yes, I've had, you guys celebrate 4th of July over there.
Why would people think
and I'm
that
just
British
like, well,
people
no,
would
why would we
celebrate?
and I said that, why would we celebrate it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, well, I don't know. It's just like...
Yeah. Do you celebrate 4th of
July?
July?
Some people over here don't know why they celebrate it,
No, they don't. Which brings us to the first thing we're going to do in this podcast.
Yes, we're going to quiz Erica from America on the 4th of July.
This is in the same vein of quizzes that we've seen on like Jimmy Kimmel and what is it, Jimmy Fallon maybe? I'm not sure where all, but they go we were watching one thing a couple years ago, I think it was, on the 4th of July, and they went to some beach, I think in LA. So must have been Kimmel, I guess. And they were asking people on the beach why, questions about the 4th of July. Why do we celebrate the 4th of July? What is it for?
Someone answered when the hot dog. It's because when the hot dogs were invented or something.
Something.
And they weren't joking.
No.
They were actually thought it was. They thought
they weren't joking. They weren't acting.
So why do we celebrate 4th of July? Oh, it's because when the hot dogs were invented.
If you haven't seen that, go Google it. It's really disturbing the number of people that have no idea why we celebrate the 4th of July. Actually, maybe we'll put a poll up. I think we'll put a poll up.
Why do we celebrate 4th of July?
Yeah.
Or why do you all here celebrate 4th of July?
Yeah.
And one of the answers will be, it's because it's when the hot dogs were invented.
Or they're like, some of them I think said it's America's Independence Day, and they were said, okay, independence from who?
The aliens, Will Smith.
Yeah, that's it. Oh my God, yeah, somebody did answer that, didn't they?
Yeah, somebody actually said that to me online. I'm sure of it. Somebody said that to me online. And I thought they were kidding.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, it's when they made a movie about it. It's like, it wasn't a documentary.
Yeah.
Historical biopic of 4th of July.
I've got my fingers and my toes crossed that this is not going to be completely humiliating. But should we start?
Let's start.
Okay.
Question 1 of 10.
Okay.
What historical event do Americans celebrate on the 4th of July? Is it the official signing of the Declaration of Independence, George Washington's birthday, the first shots of the American Revolution, formal adoption of the Declaration of Independence.
Oh, no. Okay. So am I going to do like on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and like walk me through your thought process? You know, they always ask them like, tell me what you're thinking. Yeah. Well, because otherwise it's just the person sitting there thinking, isn't it? It's either the first or the last one. And I'm a little bit, is it the official signing of the Declaration of Independence or the formal adoption of the Declaration of Independence? I think it's the signing. Let's go with the signing.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer. Oh, no!
It's the formal adoption of the Declaration of Independence.
Oh, no! I had a feeling.
On July 2nd, 1776, the Continental Congress voted to approve a motion by Virginia to separate from Great Britain. 2 days later, the declaration proclaiming the independence of the United States of America from Great Britain and its king was formally adopted by 12 colonies.
Oh, wah, wah.
So, moving on to the next question. When were fireworks first used in an official 4th of July celebration?
Oh, my God.
1777, 1812, 1876, or 1901?
Okay. I know that I think fireworks came from the idea of the bombs. You know what I mean? The bombs bursting.
The bombs.
Fireworks, they're a Chinese thing, aren't they? Mm-hmm. I think they were invented by the Chinese. I'm going to go with like 1901. I'm going to say it was quite late.
My answer would be 1876 because it's the centennial. It's like, it's been 100 years. Let's celebrate with fireworks. Get the fireworks out, George.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, we were both wrong.
No!
It was 1777. Congress authorized using fireworks to help mark the first anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. The celebration, which took place in Philadelphia, also included bonfires and bells.
Wow. Okay. There you go.
There you go.
God, they've been going a long time.
Yeah.
It's very traditional then.
Number 3.
I'm not doing very well.
Not doing very well, no. Number 3 is which president first held a 4th of July celebration at the White House?
Oh my God.
Was it George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, or James Madison?
Which president first held a 4th of July celebration at the White House? George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison. Ugh. Oh, gosh. 4th of July celebration. I mean, if they had fireworks in 1777, let's go with George Washington.
Let's go with good old George Washington.
Yeah.
It was Thomas Jefferson, who, on that very day, he invented the swivel chair.
What?
Yep. Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, my God.
I don't know if it was that day, but he definitely invented the hydraulic kind of like lean back chair. Yeah,
Thomas Jefferson did?
I think it was Thomas Jefferson who invented that. Somebody might know actually who it was, but I think it was him. Though John Adams was the first president to occupy the White House, it was Thomas Jefferson who, on July 4th, 1801, opened the executive mansion to diplomats, civil and military officers, and Cherokee chiefs. The Marine Band performed the President's March, later retitled Hail Columbia, and other patriotic airs.
Oh my God. I am 0 for 3.
They're
going to kick me out.
Kick you out!
Which newspaper first printed the Declaration of Independence? The Philadelphia Eagle, the New York Times, the Pennsylvania Evening Post, or the National Enquirer?
It was the National Enquirer.
Which newspaper first printed the Declaration of Independence? Pennsylvania Evening Post. I want to say it's going to be either the Philadelphia Eagle or the Pennsylvania Evening Post. Ugh.
I'd say, yeah.
Let's go with... Oh my God, This is very embarrassing. I mean, do people know the answers to these questions? Let us know. Tweet us how many of these answers you got right.
Have you got 3 wrong or 3 right?
Yeah, play along and let us know how many you got right. Because I'm getting a little bit embarrassed at the moment. I'm going to say the Philadelphia Eagle. Let's go with the Philadelphia Eagle. Sounds...
It was the Pennsylvania Evening Post.
Oh my God.
After John Dunlap of Philadelphia printed copies of the Declaration for the Continental Congress on July 4th, 1776, printers throughout the colonies produced their own versions. The one from the Pennsylvania Evening Post came out on July 6th, 1776.
I've seen one of the original copies of the Declaration of Independence in person. Yeah. They toured them around the country several years ago and brought them. I don't know, it came to Austin, so we went to go see it. Just a little bit of information for you there.
Thank you for that information.
Okay, which 2 U.S. presidents died on July 4th in the same year? Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, James Monroe and Martin Van Buren, Millard Fillmore and Andrew Johnson, William Howard Taft and Warren G. Harding. I have no idea.
No idea whatsoever.
I have gotten 0 right. Okay, at the top of this quiz, they have a little green check mark that says right and then a red X for wrong.
4 wrong.
Yeah. We're on number 5. I've gotten all 4 of them wrong so far. Oh, gosh. Died on July 4th. I have no idea. I mean, this is going to be a total shot in the dark.
Thomas Jefferson, you thinking?
Thomas Jefferson and John Adams? That seems too perfect.
Maybe they both choked on a hot dog. It's when the hot dogs were invented.
Let's go completely random and say Taft and Harding.
Taft and Harding. Let's see. Are you right?
But then I have a feeling
it was Thomas Jefferson and John Adams.
I had a great uncle who was born on the 4th of July. He was an Independence Day baby. Another random.
Oh, here we go. Which U.S. president was born on Independence Day?
God. Calvin Coolidge, James Buchanan, Lyndon B. Johnson, or Ronald Reagan? Oh my God. I am terrible. I am a horrible American. Oh God, I'm gonna say James Buchanan. I don't know. Ugh.
James Buchanan. It was Calvin Coolidge.
I quit.
The 30th president was born on July 4th, 1872 in Plymouth Notch, Vermont. He's the only president born on Independence Day.
I quit. I give up.
The next question. How many people were living in the United States of America on July 4th, 1776?
I'm guessing not that many.
2.5 million? 9 million? 15 million? Or 30 million?
July 4th. Okay, in the United States of America. So this is not counting people who had already ventured out west.
Yeah, this is the 13 colonies.
Let's just say, 2.5 million seems like not enough. 9 million seems like a bit too much. Let's go with 9 million.
9 million.
I haven't gotten anything right so far.
It was 2.5 million. That's a U.S. Census Bureau estimate.
I'm leaving.
I'm leaving.
I'm leaving. Goodbye.
Good night. When did the 4th of July become a federal holiday?
Oh my God, I don't know.
Was it 1777, 1870, 1876? It's a state holiday, not a federal holiday.
Well, it's a federal holiday. I do know that much. Oh, God.
I'm going to say 1876. Maybe that's
You're going to go for 1876?
Again.
100 years later?
Yeah, because I think they could have...
When would they have announced, everybody doesn't have to work on this day? You know what I mean? Like, it would have mostly just been religious kind of days before that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe 100 years later? Or is it 1777? I mean, 1870. Why 1870?
Time enough for
random.
2 questions left.
I'm going to say 1870 because that's so, random.
1870.
Yeah.
It was 1870!
Hallelujah!
Congress reaffirmed the holiday in 1938 and mandated full pay for federal employees.
There we go. See? Logic.
Logic. 1 right. Question 9.
1 right, 7 wrong.
Which of the following was not one of the original 13 American colonies?
Vermont, Georgia, Massachusetts, or North Carolina? I'm going to say Georgia and Massachusetts definitely were. North Carolina, I'm going to say Vermont because it doesn't sound...
Vermont.
Ah!
Correct! This is the last question. What baseball player threw a 4-0 no-hitter against the Boston Red Sox on July 4th, 1983? Was it Jim Palmer of the Baltimore Orioles? Was it Orel Hershiser of the Los Angeles Dodgers? Jack Morris of the Detroit Tigers? Or Dave Righetti of the New York Yankees?
83 and...
Orel Hershiser. That sounds like Klaus Hergesheimer from Diamonds Are Forever, that does. Freaking Klaus Hergesheimer. G-Shaction.
Jim Palmer is the only name that is jumping out at me, but I want to say if it's against the Red Sox, it was probably a Yankees game. I'm going to go with Jim Palmer, though, because that's the only name I kind of recognize.
Good old Jim Palmer.
Watch it be Dave Righetti.
It was Dave Righetti.
God.
It was the Yankees' first no-hitter in 27 years. Former President Richard Nixon was there and sent Righetti a congratulatory letter.
Okay, well.
That was it.
I no longer get to be an American, apparently.
Your score was 20%.
Oh, terrible. Let us know what your score was if you played along.
Yes.
How many you got right or wrong.
If you got it right or wrong.
Yes.
Now, let's move on to
Yeah.
the British side of things and
Okay.
see how people care about that. People over there care about it. Because my thing growing up is like, I never thought about it. July 4th was another day.
Well, yeah.
It was summer, you know.
think
It was just
about
the
it.
end. You know, it wasn't like a big, you know, like in Britain.
Britain had so many colonies.
Yeah, Britain had so many colonies.
That had already
Gone,
become
India, yeah, and it was
independent,
just
or
like,
that
you
they'd
know,
given back or
we're just living our lives, mate.
whatever.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean,
there was
mate?
if you guys got worked up about every single like colony or whatever, that
All
you-
worked up.
yeah, that you once had and no longer do, then like you wouldn't get anything done, would you?
Getting done because we'd just be sitting there moaning and bitching all the time.
Because Britain owned everything at one point. I mean,
Yes.
not literally.
1/4 of the earth.
So yeah, I mean,
So yeah, I mean, as
I think it's hilarious that Americans think though that British people are going, America.
yes, and it's really not. You know, it's like, you know, people in Britain thinking America's thinking about them all the time.
Yeah.
It's like they're not.
No.
You know? Hillary Keane in York, this is on bustle.com, says, I mostly find it amusing. It's just like an explosion of red, white, and blue coming from a country that already puts its flag everywhere on a normal day. She then added, Happy Freedom Day, America. Enjoy your guns and expensive health care. And proceeded to send me a photo of Captain America.
Oh, that was very passive aggressive now, wasn't it?
Passive aggressive. Yes. And Claire Wyatt in Hayworth, West Yorkshire, who looks like Joffrey from Game of Thrones, said, I have just no opinion on it and would forget it was a thing apart from my Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook feeds filling up with posts from Americans.
I imagine that's true for most British people.
It is, you know, it's like people asking me, oh, it's 4th of July here, do you celebrate it? No. Why not?
It's just like,
You know. On the whole, posts of the people having a good day and feeling good about life, which is a nice thing. And she added that most Brits are ambivalent about the holiday in general. And it's like, are you they made a joke here, are you ambivalent about freedom too? It's like, yeah, it's just like other countries are free, It's just like, just because we haven't written it down on some bit of paper, is...
Yeah. I mean, you do. I mean, yeah, you and I kind of have this discussion
a lot, yeah.
Sort of regularly that, I mean...
People think that, like, America's the only country to have freedom.
Well, I mean, literally, we are one of the only countries that actually does have a Bill of Rights. Like, written down, you have the right to,
Yes.
Because other Western civilized countries obviously have, like, free speech and whatever, except if your government suddenly one day decided, actually, no, you can't say that, then you guys could protest or whatever, but that's about it,
Well, I'm not sure about that, because I think I was looking at that up the other day, because some people can find a way around an act of parliament.
Yeah.
Which is the law,
Mm-hmm.
The licensing act, or it's called acts. It's act of parliament. And so they get it changed pretty quickly, and they put in a new act. Whereas over here, it's kind of like the Constitution and the amendments and all that.
Yeah,
it's all like
red tape.
It's a lot of red tape to like to
change anything.
Yeah.
That's why there's an argument against the whole gun ownership thing, because it's just like, we can't, go in and like change that. Like the people, it was written into the Constitution, people have the right to bear arms. But that can be interpreted in so many different ways, One thing I want to just quickly to totally change the subject. I just want to, because I was thinking about this just now. Isn't it kind of weird, actually, that all of us, I mean, I live in Texas, we live in Texas, and we celebrate the 4th of July, which is America's independence from Britain, but Texas was never owned by Britain. Texas was owned by Spain. Texas was owned by Mexico.
Yeah.
Britain never had us. We are now part of the United States, and we have been since, what was it, 1845, I think.
1845, yeah.
But... the 4th of July doesn't really have anything to do with us or half of the United States, to be realistic,
Well, yes, yeah. I mean, it's only really the original 13 colonies that can celebrate it,
Yeah.
It could be, it's a federal holiday now because, I mean, but at the same time, it was like the birth of the United States of America.
Yeah.
And it was just like you were admitted into the Union.
And it's celebrating us as a free country, really, I mean, is all it amounts to.
And really, if you think about it, I mean, the last state to be added to the Union was Hawaii in 1959.
Yeah.
And it really is like, could you take any more?
Yeah.
It's too big. I think it's just too big to be run by one single entity, and have one guy.
Yeah.
It's like, I know the states all have like governors and everything, but it's like, really, it's kind of like Europe in a way. It could be countries.
Yeah.
It could easily very well be countries.
Yeah, I mean, we're a very large area.
Very large area. And nobody knows what's going on the East Coast, on the West Coast, or whatever, it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like the British Empire in a way.
Well, I was going to say, us celebrating the 4th of July now is like you guys still celebrating Guy Fawkes Day.
Guy Fawkes, yeah. He's our mate. Kit Harington.
Which is Kit Harington. Yeah, Jon Snow is Guy Fawkes.
Yeah. If you haven't seen that, I think it was called Gunpowder, wasn't it? Gunpowder, Treason and Plot.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. It was something Kit Harington made, for 4th of July. And I made it for something Kit Harington made for November the 5th.
Yeah, we'll have to do another podcast on November the 5th, but
yes.
But yeah,
that's where our fireworks come into play.
Yeah.
And bonfires and stuff.
Sort of the same thing. Like, it's you guys celebrate. I mean, it goes around a very specific event, but it's basically you guys celebrating that you're a free nation. Really. I mean, that's what it boils down to.
Sort of, but I don't know really, because I mean, it was just celebrating not the king not getting killed. And Parliament not being blown up.
You're celebrating,
and that was back in 1605, before 1776.
You're not celebrating that you're a free nation. Then I guess you're just celebrating that you are.
Anarchy didn't rule. Anarchy didn't get through. Anarchy in the UK.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast.
It's a whole other podcast. Yeah, I mean, talking about that.
Yeah, but yeah, going back then to British opinion of the 4th of July. I mean, we could go on really, but it's kind of the same thing, isn't it? All these people that they talk to in this article, it's like most everybody doesn't really care. They're just like, yeah, okay, it's America's Independence Day. Let them
it's like
have
Thanksgiving.
it.
Funnily enough, Thanksgiving, another holiday. It's like I have this. We had this friend Dawn in Wales, and we were in the pub one day, and my dad was like, "Oh, Dawn's doing this Thanksgiving and stuff," and people are like, "What? What's that?" It's like, "Oh, the American holiday, Thanksgiving." She's doing it because she lived over here, and and some guy was like, "Well, yeah, I visited there too, but it's just like, why am I doing it?"
Yeah.
It's like, it's understandable if you're an American, you've been born over here and you've grown up.
I really am curious.
And, it's like, you move to Britain and it's like, well, I want to do Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm curious, what about Americans
living if you lived in
Britain on the 4th of July? I wonder what they do. They must feel like
there's celebrations. Yeah, there's celebrations around, like in London and places like that. And I'm sure little groups get together and they're like, yeah, let's grill and eat hot dogs and hamburgers and that sort of thing.
Yeah, watermelon. That's a big, like, apple pie, watermelon. These are all like. In case anybody...
Potato salad.
Yeah, in case anybody...
She's obsessed with potato salad.
Literally, this
once
is what
Erica
we do.
once filled a swimming pool full of potato salad and dived in. It's crazy. That was like 4th of July 2013, I think that was.
He's a mental case. Anyway, if anybody listening in other countries is really genuinely curious, this is what happens in America on the 4th of July. We get together, we have a barbecue, we grill out, whatever you want to call it. You usually do some kind of meat, hamburgers, hot dogs, steaks, ribs, whatever. Corn on the cob is typical. Potato salad, yes. Pickles, you might have a salad. You're probably going to have, then for dessert, watermelon, ice cream, apple pie. I'm talking about a big 4th of July celebration.
It's a huge 4th of July celebration.
I'm obviously, little people at their house are not going to fix all of this. But if you're having a party or you're going to somewhere for it, then that's the kind of stuff you can look forward to. They play games. They do slip and slides or like put on a sprinkler, backyard little kids swimming pool, or maybe you might go to a beach, or it's just a very like outdoorsy summery day. Yeah.
It's a seasonal holiday.
Baseball games. There might be, if you have kids that play Little League or something, then they might be having tournaments on that 4th of July like weekend. And yeah, it's very like flag waving and, everybody's in red, white, and blue. Yeah. It's fun. I mean,
it's fun and frolics.
Yeah. I mean, some people get so like, oh yeah, America, they're so into their country. And I feel like, what's wrong with that? That's okay.
And you push them in that potato salad pool, don't you?
Unless you're being like, oh, my country and I hate all the other countries, then that's not okay. But if you're just like having pride in your country and where you live and you want to celebrate and have a good day and have fun and be with people that you like to be with, then there's nothing wrong with that. I don't understand people in other countries that like make fun of America's patriotism.
Just making fun. It's very silly.
Yeah, I mean, let us be patriotic if we want to. Get a life.
Let us fill a swimming pool full of potato salad if you want to. Get a life.
Oh my God.
Well, I think we've run that topic into the ground.
Yeah, I think we're good. If you have any questions, if you are in Britain or elsewhere in the world and you have any questions about the 4th of July, Google it. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding.
They already have.
You can ask us. Tweet us, Facebook us, Instagram us. All the links are on our website, teandabuddy.com. If you enjoy our content and would like to help keep us going, we do have a coffee page, and you can go on there and buy us a coffee. It's an online tipping service, and it's just to like say thanks for the useful or entertaining content. Yeah. And if not, then just share us with your friends. Spread the word.
Spread the word.
Yeah. And we appreciate you all listening, and we hope you have a happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July.
Wherever you may be.
Wherever you may be.
Bye.
Bye.